So, Colin, how are you getting on for a start? Are you
Good,
all right?
thanks. Yeah, good.
Excellent stuff. Actually, on the taxi from my way to Dublin Airport today, the taxi driver was telling me who I was going to interview. I said, "Oh, Colin Farrell, you know that fella? He's a movie actor. He's got a new movie out, so I'm having a chat with him." And he wouldn't stop talking about you. He was going on, and we were having a great old chat.
Right.
And I was thinking, if you can work yourself into the heart and bosom of the taxi drivers in Dublin,
Yeah.
and the only job next is Taoiseach. Would you ever think about politics? Will you come back and save the country?
Now would be the time to jump into it as Taoiseach. I mean, in one sense, you have obviously the biggest mess in the history of the country financially to clean up, but in another, you can't do much worse than the crowd that are leaving, you know? Yeah, I haven't been home in nearly a year now. I'm going home for Christmas for 2 weeks, but for all intents and purposes, I've been getting reports both off the news in America and just texts off pals at home, and my brother's emailing me links and newspaper reports and stuff, and it's shocking. It's absolutely shocking.
And what do you think when you're that far away from home? And you're
I mean, there go I literally, but for the grace of this job that I do, and that my life has taken me over to the west coast of America. And as I said, I have 2 boys there now, so that's very much where I live, but that doesn't mean that, I'll always be from Ireland, and Dublin will always be home to me in many ways. I have 2 homes now, one I spend more time in, and that'll be America. But it's very sad, it's very worrying, it's very upsetting, and there's a lot of people obviously in a lot of pain at home now, you know, it's terrible.
And for so many years, there's so many positive things that were coming out of Ireland, yourself and Saoirse Ronan being 2 of them. And now we're hearing all this kind of negative thing. Do you think there's anything we can take from what's Colin Farrell's advice?
Oh, I don't know, and I'd be very cautious about giving advice with all the good fortune that I have in my life. You know, it's very hard for me to say I understand what everyone's going through at home, and I don't really experientially. I understand it as much as I can from a distance, and as somebody who loves his country and loves the people of his country. But oh jeez, I don't know, man. I just hope for a speedy recovery and a quick return to some kind of sense of balance in the country, you know.
Absolutely. And
we're amazing people. Everything that we've been through, you know. And there's a lot of countries in the world that have been through a lot, but we're talking about Ireland, so specifically to us, I mean, what our country has been through in its own history is incredible. We've faced seemingly insurmountable odds at times, and we've always come up trumps, you know, so we will again, there's no doubt. It's just going to be a hard road back to
and it's pretty appropriate that we're talking about a movie about survival. And when you think of the times we're living in, you play a character called Valka. Was there anything, I've got to say, your accents yourself, Saoirse, are perfect. They're brilliant interpretations, but did you find it harder or easier to do the Russian accent than you did the Cork accent?
I say I found the Cork hardest. The Cork still comes up trumps. Like sometimes the further something is from you, the easier it is. You know what I mean? You really get to stretch, and you get to be comfortable in the risk that you're taking. You know, and you get to really make a good leap at it. So Cork was tricky, but the Russian one was so far. I had absolutely no relationship to the Russian sound. I had no recollection of ever hearing it really much in my life, or ever trying to do it before. So it was great. It was really approaching it with child's eyes, and I had a great dialect coach, and it was fun. Yeah. And it was great. It was a great avenue into the character. It was literally when we were working with Judy Dickerson, was the dialect coach I was working with in America before we went to Bulgaria, and just working with the sounds with her, the character started to come like never before, just through the dialect, really.
And did you keep any of the tattoos? How did you kind of look into it? Because he's a very seriously scary character.
All the tattoos have such a greater level of profundity than any of the ink that I have on my body. I mean, they all really signify a certain crime you've committed, or a certain amount of time you've spent somewhere, or a certain title that you hold within the infrastructure of this criminal world. So each tattoo had its significance, and I had a couple of books of tattoos that I went through, and I designed the upper body of the torso and all that, and I designed a tattoo on the back, which I don't think we see in the film. And I gave them over to the makeup artist, who was brilliant, Mike, and he did them.
Well, if you're ever looking for a kind of a look to keep the paparazzi away, I think Valka is the way to go.
Not the most charming, charming
really.
looking individual. Not what you'd call distinguished.
Absolutely.
Distinguished for a different reason.